All right, Coach. Been a while since we've had one of these. Let's take us back to the last couple games, if you would.
Last Wednesday we played at home versus Western. They came into the game 12-5 on the year. They're probably one of the better teams in our league, in my opinion. And we played probably our best game of the year, in my opinion. Ended up winning by about 35. Scored 106 points, which is unfathomable with our team, considering the fact that we've gone games where we scored barely 50. So I felt like we were kind of on track to start turning the corner. Last night we had Redlands came in here, and we ended up getting beaten overtime. The game was tied at 72 at the end of regulation, and they came out in the overtime period and just made plays that we didn't. I felt like we were out of gas to a certain extent. We had two guys that played 43 minutes on the evening apiece, and overall we were out of gas.
Were there times during that game last night against Redlands that you saw spurts where you maybe could see the momentum starting to go your way and you just didn't carry it or ride it all the way out? Or
hey, we to answer your question, yes, we were. It felt like we were 5 minutes. We played really great basketball. In 5 minutes, we wouldn't. There were times when we had 4 or 6 point leads, and they would quickly evaporate, and then we build another lead, and it would quickly evaporate, and then they go up. And it was disappointing that we had such inconsistent play, especially in the second half, where I felt we had an advantage in the fact that we were playing real well and could have built a lead more than we did, and allowed them to get back into it. We had to come back from, I believe we were 7 points down with about 3 minutes to go, and we came back in and tied it with 17 seconds left. It took so much energy to tie that game, and we going into overtime, we just didn't execute like we should have. And that's been one of our issues all year, is just a matter of executing. I don't know whether to attribute that to youth or just players can't comprehend exactly what we're wanting to be done.
But inconsistency has been pretty much the theme for your team this season. I mean, to come out strong versus Western and then to come up short against Redlands. Is there any positives that you're taking in, like from last night's game? Did you see any play or any consistency that you can build off of?
I think we've one of our forwards, Cesar Napoli, has played exceptionally well since the break, especially in the last 5 games. I think he's been one of our best players and most consistent players. And then you take a look at our guard play. We have a guard from Puerto Rico, Joel Quinones, who I felt has played really well since the break. And I thought last night he really competed, and he played an exceptional game at times last night. At times he had some errors. It's just we will have 2 or 3 players that really play well, and then we'll have other players that don't. And that's been the story of our year. The positive is we have a couple guys that are now playing well every night. If we just add a couple to that, I think we'd be in good shape.
Earlier in the season, turnovers were a big key to some of your losses. Was that a factor last night?
To a certain extent. Although I thought more of a problem was we didn't find people on the defensive end and contest some shots that should have been contested. It was almost like last night you could take both the offense and defense and find simple plays that we didn't make that led to getting beat. Turnovers was we'd love to get through a game with only 5 turnovers, but I don't think that was the paramount reason we got beat. I felt like it was a collection of reasons we got beat. It's disappointing at this point in the year. We're over 20 games in, that we're still making some of the errors that we are, and it's all really leads back to kind of the execution of simple plays.
How does last night's game prepare you for Seminole?
Seminole we play on Thursday night here. I told the newspaper last night, I feel like the most important thing going into Seminole is to try to get fresh again. Try to rest up over the next 2 days. We're going to take today off and practice tomorrow, but try to get our legs back under us and some confidence, and hopefully play a good game Thursday night. The nice thing is I feel like we're playing better offensively, which we were struggling with so much early. The disappointing thing is our defense was inconsistent. They're different, completely different team though. So it's hard to compare the two games and say you're gonna that game last night prepared us.
What kind of team is Seminole?
They're much more half court oriented. They're going to execute better, but not have as talented of players. In my opinion, I don't think they're as explosive. They're not, as far as you go top to bottom, they're not as imposing physically. So it was a physical, rough game last night, and I don't necessarily expect that with Seminole. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a finesse game, and they struggle offensively. They just got through beating Carl Albert at home, 55-49 last night. So, I think that the Seminole game is going to be a much more low-scoring game, much more walk it up, that type game.
Any major injuries come out of last night?
Actually, we do. One of our starting two guards got hurt late in the game in overtime, actually, and he'll be out. John Bond will be out for an undetermined amount of time. I'm not sure how long.
Definitely out for Seminole then.
He'll be definitely out on Thursday night, and we'll see how the next week goes. But he had a leg injury, so and that just simply goes down to I felt like we play hard, just don't execute. And I told the guys in the locker room after the game, if we execute, we're not in overtime and he doesn't get injured. Mm-hmm. So we've got to do a better job of preparing ourselves to stay out of those situations.
What kind of injury did he have?
He had an injury to the knee. So nothing serious, but he'll take some treatment, and we'll hopefully get him back in a week, 2 weeks.
All right, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks, Brad.